Dr. Purvi Chawla. I am honored to introduce her. Dr. Purvi Chawla is a very known face to all of the national conferences, and it's my pleasure to introduce her. She is the consultant diabetologist and director of clinical research of Lina Diabetes Care and Mumbai Diabetes Research Center. She is the honorary consultant diabetologist in Bharatiya Arogya Nidhi Hospital and Mahabir Hospital, Mumbai. She is also the co and investigator in several global and national clinical trials at BACS Municipal General Hospital, Diabetes Center, Research Center, Mumbai. She is the organizing secretary of Women and Diabetes 2020 and organizing committee member in Challenges in Diabetes in 2019 to till now. She is also a RSSDA social media core team member. Dr. Purvi Chawla is a joint secretary of Santa Cruz Medical and Social Association, and she is the winner of RSSDA USB Award for Best Innovation in Diabetes Care in Challenging Situation. She is also, so many things are there
Thank
for
you.
her. Yeah, and I hope all of us, anyway, we know Dr. Purvi Chawla very well, but now Dr. Purvi Chawla, it's all
Thank
about all yours. Stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction, Dr. Sigdar, and the chairpersons. And a big thank you and cheers for Dr. Banshi Sabu, who has not given up even in the last weekend of the year with this smashing conference, DiaCareCon.
Yes.
Extremely privileged and proud to be here. So thank you for that invitation. The entire team is very, very dedicated and fantastic.
Yeah,
With that, let me start.
sure.
So this morning, I was I was at the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute, and while looking at the things in the museum and at all the images and everything, the film on mountaineering, and because preparing a woman with diabetes for pregnancy was on my mind throughout, I saw the analogy that it's as exhaustive a training or as important a training that a mountaineer goes through to reach that summit, um, as much as for a woman with diabetes to prepare for pregnancy and a healthy baby and healthy mom at delivery. So, with that, I think the dramatic increase in the prevalence of diabetes world over and the association of diabetes with increased maternal and fetal risk complications with the degree of hyperglycemia and presence of other complicating comorbidities and complications, the need to reduce this risk and, of course, the impact on perinatal outcomes is very compelling. And with respect to diabetes in pregnancy, we have seen that when uncontrolled glycemia complicates it, there are spontaneous abortions, fatal anomalies, preeclampsia, and many more adverse events. And also, importantly, the risk of obesity, hypertension, type 2 diabetes in the offspring later on in life also. So the magnitude of the problem is quite wide and deep, and 5 to 10% of pregnancies or birth defects are attributed to uncontrolled glycemia before conception, and even spontaneous proportions of high degree. So the prevalence of pre-existing diabetes in pregnant women is almost 4%, of which majority is type 2 diabetes. But there is hope. When glycemic control is comparable to the non diabetic population, the risk of all these adverse pregnancy outcomes is greatly reduced. And we have studies to show that since the risk of diabetic embryopathy or congenital heart disease or renal anomalies is the highest in the first 10 weeks of pregnancy, optimal glycemic control before conception is the key and is associated with the lowest risk of these congenital malformations. So, organizations world over, like the ADA, ACOG, and also the RSSDI, recommend that preconception counseling for all women and adolescents of childbearing potential with diabetes to avoid the substantial health and associated cost burdens in the offspring. So they say start early, start at the time of puberty itself or at the time of diagnosis of diabetes. In all women of childbearing potential, they should receive this education as routine care. And this should first and foremost include the risk of malformations and that is associated with unplanned pregnancy or even mild hyperglycemia, and using contraception effectively to prevent such a pregnancy until optimal glycemic control or metabolic parameters are achieved. So, effective family planning, effective contraception, and using long acting reversible contraception should be prescribed and followed until a woman is prepared and ready to become pregnant. And all developmental appropriate educational tools for younger girls should be used so that they can make informed decisions. So, if I had to define preconception management, it's nothing but a set of treatment regimens before conception that are aimed at optimizing social biomedical diabetes, whether type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Most important of these of preconception care is the attainment of glycemic goal, as you can imagine, for all these women before conception itself. And thus, these women should be informed of the importance of reaching euglycemia as safely as possible. ADA standards of care definitely says that women with pre-existing diabetes should planning a pregnancy should ideally be managed preconceptionally by a multidisciplinary team, including an endocrinologist, maternal fetal medicine specialist, registered dietitian, diabetes educator when available. And there is scientific evidence to support that outcomes are better when we involve everybody. Again, the ACOG Committee on Pre-Pregnancy Counseling also has stressed that, in fact, there is a need to incorporate a question about a woman's plan for pregnancy into routine pregnancy and gynecologic care itself. And preconception care largely includes standard screenings and care recommended for all women planning pregnancy. Things like screening for sexually transmitted diseases, thyroid diseases, vaccinations, genetic screening, a careful review of all the drugs that the patient is on, review of even travel history is important. Counseling on the specific risk of obesity complicating pregnancy and lifestyle interventions is also recommended, and prenatal vitamins also. But the diabetes specific counseling should definitely include an explanation on the risks of to the mother and fetus related to pregnancy and ways of reducing this risk, including glycemic goal setting, lifestyle management, and medical nutrition therapy. Diabetes specific testing includes HbA1c levels, creatinine, urine albumin to creatinine ratio, and special attention to reviewing all the medications that the patient has been on, and a comprehensive eye examination as well. In fact, they recommend the use of aspirin 81 to 150 milligrams, or the baby aspirin as it's commonly called, to during preconception, or at least by 16 weeks of gestation, to reduce the risk of preeclampsia in these women. As far as changing the medications go, metformin, when used to treat polycystic ovarian syndrome to induce ovulation, should be discontinued at the end of first trimester as per the ADA. Insulin is the preferred agent for managing both type 1 and type 2 diabetes in pregnancy. And hence, who are planning to conceive should be shifted to insulin therapy. Specific questions in type 1 diabetes that we must focus on are the counseling for unawareness, diabetic ketoacidosis, retinopathy, and rapid euglycemic achievement that precipitates retinopathy as well. Specific questions relating to type 2 are obviously the weight management issue, and the number of the amount of weight that the woman can put on during pregnancy is also required to be counseled to the patient in the preconception time as well. Glycemic control is often managed in easier much easier in type 2 diabetes patients as compared to the type 1. However, the insulin requirements may be extremely high, and these may dramatically drop after delivery. And this fact should be well counseled to the patient at the fact that there may be losses even in the third trimester in women with pre-existing diabetes. With that, they also suggest that there should be extra focus on nutrition, diabetes education, and screening for diabetes because of the stricter and tighter control of glycemia in women with diabetes. They tend to eat consistent amounts of carbohydrates to match insulin dosage and avoid hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia. And this has to be counseled through a dietitian who is well experienced and qualified so that she can plan a food meal plan for the patient, uh, counsel the patient for the insulin to carbohydrate ratio, and also determine the weight gain goals for the patient. Comorbidities and complications of diabetes, we know they exist, and the patient needs to be thoroughly aware of the same and the fact that there can be progression of diabetic retinopathy. Hence, detailed eye examinations are also regularly recommended as per the ADA, and pregnant patients with diabetes and hypertension or significant proteinuria, a BP level of above 135 by 85 millimeter mercury should be treated aggressively to get targets less than 120 by 80 millimeter mercury. Again, we need to be careful about the drugs that we use to treat hypertension during pregnancy, and ACE inhibitors and ARBs, statins, all are contraindicated during pregnancy. With that, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that do we know if, and I found this interesting Cochrane analysis where they actually reported that there is no such evidence because they found only 3 randomized control trials in a few hundred patients, but reported on preconception counseling and the risk of outcomes. And I thought that was quite comprehensive. They found that majority of the studies found that up to 62% of the type 1 patients were seeking preconceptional care, of type 2 diabetes patients were seeking preconceptional care. And preconceptional care in type 2 diabetes women was sought only when the women were slightly elderly or they were obese or they already had some complication ongoing. So it was not uniform or consistent in application. And they found that overall the metabolic control was definitely improved in all these studies with preconceptional care. As far as spontaneous abortion or they were not consistent effects reported. And perinatal mortality and congenital malformations were also, again, there was a trend towards improvement, but not statistically significant with the intervention of preconceptional care. However, we know that definitely preconceptional care, intuitively, we know that it is helpful. With that, I want to just highlight some of the aspects of preconceptional planning and care that is given by the NICE recommendations of 2020 that are widely followed by the NHS in the UK. So they stress on the philosophy is slightly different than the ADA or the RSSDI ESI, and I want to just highlight that. So they also stress upon the fact that we must explain to the woman with diabetes that if they have good glycemic control before conception and throughout pregnancy, that will definitely reduce the risk of complications as well. And when women with diabetes are planning a pregnancy, their families must have all the information as well about how diabetes and pregnancy are related. So they stress a lot on the counseling aspects and all the different aspects like hypoglycemia, hypoglycemia, unawareness during pregnancy, how nausea and vomiting affects blood sugars, or the risk of a large baby impacting the delivery outcome, or the need for screening for complications, importance of maternal blood glucose control during the labor, possibility that the baby may have complications in the first 28 days after birth, or the risk of the baby eventually developing diabetes, obesity, and other health problems are also to be highlighted right at the time of that preconception counseling. They also go on to emphasize the importance of planning for pregnancy as compared to unplanned pregnancy, and that extra effort and time that will be required to manage diabetes during pregnancy. Very often, patients jump into the fact that they want to get pregnant without understanding what it is going to entail or what is it going to require from their side as well. So, women with diabetes planning a pregnancy
Sorry to
local
disturb, Dr. Purvi. We have
arrangements
only
for
5 minutes
support or
time.
emergency contact numbers should be, I'll get to the point.
Yeah,
So, with
thank you.
that, diet and dietary supplements and body weight as well is something that they describe. They also suggest monthly monitoring of HbA1c levels, blood glucose meters, and ketone strips to be provided to the patients. And of course, they have given the targets for glycemia as well as HbA1c level that should be less than 6.5%. Before conceiving as per there, and they strongly advise HbA1c is much lower because of the associated on stopping during in the guidelines. The retinal assessment is also something that they recommend itself because this also can be associated with a lot of complications during pregnancy. With that, I'll just take a couple of minutes on the RSSDI ESI clinical practice recommendations, which have of course, Dr. Banshi Sabu, Rajiv Chawla, Dr. Kalra, full guidelines, and they have in detail given the recommendations to preconception care with all the principles that have already highlighted. They have beautifully described the elements of preconceptional plan also. And they have suggested that conception should be planned only when the HbA1c levels are less than 6.5 or 7% to lower the risk of congenital anomalies, and have described the glycemic targets that have to be maintained for such women with diabetes who conceive. So they also suggest that switching over to from oral agents or non-insulin injectable anti-diabetic agents to insulin prior to conception while minimizing the risk of hypoglycemia is recommended by them. And for that, the details on the drugs to be used or on the insulins to be used are also given here. Of course, screening for complications is one of their suggestion as well. And the stoppage of all the contraindicated drugs like ACE inhibitors, ARBs, statins, lipase inhibitors, all should be stopped, and the recommendation with what drugs to be used for treating hypertension in pregnancy with pre-existing diabetes. They also specify that these women are to take folic acid at 5 milligrams per day on neural tube defects, and weight management is also one of their purview. However, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare guidelines only touch upon this and do not give any more details. Hence, our main guideline to follow is the RSSDI ESI clinical practice recommendations. With that, I just want you to leave some thought on the continuous glucose monitoring that is available so widely and freely in India. So as much as possible, we should use it because it has been reported to have positive outcomes. Of course, not to replace SMBG, but to be used along with it to improve glycemic control as well as the outcomes, especially in type 1 diabetes. So, the take home message is that preparing a woman with diabetes for pregnancy is with complete and consistent preconception care with focus on counseling about planning pregnancy only when metabolic parameters are appropriate for conception and the risks of unplanned pregnancy with uncontrolled glycemia. Diet, exercise, weight management, optimal anti-diabetic therapy with insulin and metformin for achieving glycemic targets and HbA1c level to be optimized, optimal blood pressure and lipid management, discontinuation of harmful drugs like ACE inhibitors, ARBs, and statins, supplementation with vitamins and folic acid, screening for complications like retinopathy and nephropathy, and SMBG in tandem with CGM to be adequately explained and implemented. Thank you so much for that patient hearing, Team Diacare, and I'll be happy to